It's another episode of the OnStage Colorado Podcast. I'm Alex Miller.
And I'm Toni Tresca.
And on this week's podcast, we're going to be talking about some of the shows we've seen. Not a ton, because it was a Thanksgiving break there, so we didn't get out to a lot. We're going to talk a little bit about seasonal giving and some other news. And then we're going to do a little bit of a non-holiday shows wrap-up, for those who are looking for something other than another Christmas Carol or whatever.
Yeah, last time we talked, we called out a whole bunch of holiday shows. So this week, we are just going to go in the absolute opposite direction. So if it's not Christmassy, it made our list.
Yep. And then later in the episode, we'll have an interview that I did with Perez and Joe McIver from Unleashed Theater. So they've got a new play that is holiday themed, but definitely unconventional. It's opening this weekend, December 6th, titled Christmas Movie, The Play, The Beginning. It's billed as a Hallmark Christmas meets 80s slasher in a bloody tale to get you in the mood for the holiday season. So we talked about it. I thought they were going to be on last week, but they'll be on this week. So we'll talk about that show's coming up, and they're going to be doing kind of like a rotating thing where they're going to be doing their show at a couple of different tap rooms and that kind of thing, kind of like Audacious Theater does. So stick around for that.
I am very, very much looking forward to hearing that conversation and then going over to Junkyard Social on Sunday to check out this show. It sounds like a bloody delight.
It does sound like a lot of fun. And Junkyard Social I've never been to. That's in Boulder, right?
It is in Boulder. I've also never been to it either. I've heard great things about the space. It's supposed to be kind of a hybrid hangout spot / performance venue. So I'll report back.
All right. Looking forward to that. All right. So I know you were out of town for Thanksgiving, so you weren't at any theater here. I did get out to one show, Let Nothing You Dismay. So I went to Industry Night on Monday. This is a Topher Payne comedy at the Firehouse Theater, which of course is up at the John Hand Theater there. And this is a very funny show. It was they had a packed house for Industry Night. It was another, also they were doing a fundraiser for Denver Actors Fund. So good on them for doing that. I don't know how much they raised, but this is I laughed a lot. I also cringed at some of the jokes. They've actually made a Uranus joke, which I was like, oh, God, Topher, come on.
Okay, some cringy puns in there. Okay,
yeah, and some sort of, I don't know, middle school humor that was in there. It is funny. There was definitely some new faces, some folks I'd never seen before. I was looking at the bio, some people that either hadn't been on stage in a while or hadn't been, and certainly not in some of the theaters that we typically get to. But overall, it was a pretty good cast. It had a little bit of a community theater feel. I mean that in a good way, but like it was set in a women's hospital, and the sign above it, was like hand painted. So some of those touches, there wasn't really a lot to say about the set or some of the tech or anything like that. But it was a lot of fun. The script is ridiculous, and the characters are very, very broadly sketched. Like cliches and types. And but there was one particular one where Veronica Straight-Lingo had this character who had. I think I don't know if she'd gotten a facelift or Botox or one of those things, and then she'd gone into the hot tub too soon after, and so her face was frozen, and so she kept having to do things like compassion, to show that she was, feeling something, and it was very, very funny, and a lot of the stuff in it is just a hoot. It's definitely, it's not all that Christmassy, just kind of happens to be taking place on Christmas, and most of the characters are actually Jewish, so that was another sort of ongoing gag. So that one's a lot of fun. It's up for I think another couple of weeks. It's up through December 21st at the John Hand.
Yeah, I read your review of that you posted. I guess this morning.
Wow, I just posted like a second ago. You're on it.
Colorado. Listen, I saw it come up on Facebook. I clicked on it and I read it.
System
there.
Works.
Listen, I am deaf. My algorithm definitely knows I like theater. But I thought you did a nice job talking about all the different performances and spotlighting that it's not all that holiday-y, and even if you did kind of call out, it was a little bit on the lighter side, not a ton of like emotional payoff.
No. So kicking off the news section this week, I just wanted to mention that, I guess as you would call this is international theater news, playwright Tom Stoppard passed away. So he was 88. And, I didn't even realize he wasn't a native English speaker, born in Czechoslovakia. So he fled the Nazis when he was a kid. And he lived in England with his family after the war, and then he was at a boarding school in the Himalayas, and he started out as a journalist and then a drama critic, and then in 1960 a playwright. So there's hope for drama critics.
There's hope for us critics out there, Alex.
Yeah. So pretty good rap sheet for him. An Academy Award, a Golden Globe, 3 Laurence Olivier Awards, and 5 Tonys. So, I'm not familiar with a ton of his work, but I vividly recall the production of Arcadia that was at the Denver Center in 1996. So holy shit, nearly 30 years ago. But reading it again, I happen to have the script with me here, and I was reading it again. And I was just amazed with its technical brilliance alongside the more familiar sort of Brit snit zingers from these 2 periods of action that the play has, and it's just so written. Of course, a lot of people know him from things like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, the Real Inspector Hound, and then he co-wrote the film Shakespeare in Love, which of course a lot of people are familiar with. That won him that.
Not involved in the play adaptation of Shakespeare in Love. That's another writer, but the film, yeah, he's just done a lot of different work. He started in the written form in the newspaper circuit, then plays. He's done radio stuff. He's a film. He's just a real Renaissance man. He's had an undeniable impact on the theater scene for his kind of cerebral, heady, very witty, introspective works. Like you, I haven't seen a ton of these, but the ones that I have, like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead and The Real Inspector Hound and Arcadia, they definitely stick with you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely one of the greats passing, but certainly not before his time. As they say, he had a good run. If you get close to 90, everybody says, they had a good run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a good run. That's right.
On Broadway as well. So what else is going on out there?
So this is the final year of John Moore's True West Awards. He's doing these over for the Denver Gazette. This is the 25th and final year for this. Thus far, we've got 3 of them have been announced already. The first one on December 1st was for Matt Zambrano, who we've had recently on the podcast. And this was ahead of his turn in Every Brilliant Things, being staged by Betsy, December 5th through the 28th. And it was just kind of honoring his whirlwind year. He was in the Colorado Shakespeare Festival. He directed Baskerville, which we saw over at Lone Tree Art Center, On Your Feet at Littleton Town Hall, Mr. Burns, a post-electric play for Red Rocks Community College, co-founded Kingpenny Radio Hour that still continues to perform all across the city. He went to Korea and taught miming workshops to artists with disabilities for New York's Broken Box Mime Theater. And hold on to your butts, he co-created and is performing in a stage show, Hold On to Your Butts. That's a parody of Jurassic Park. Next May, he's got Fly You Fools, which is going to be a puppet-based parody of Lord of the Rings. And he's already got a bunch of other projects in 2026, including directing Junie B. Jones, the kids musical over at the Arvada Center, Pete and the Cat for Denver's Children's Theater, at the Meisel Art Center, 12th Night for MSU, fully committed for Creed Rep, the book club play for Utah Shakespeare Festival, and he's going to sleep when he's dead.
My God, Matt. Wow, that is a lot of stuff. Yeah, I definitely deserved a shout out for sure. And yeah, I'm glad we had him on the podcast. He was a lot of fun. I know that he's going to be great in Every Brilliant Thing. Looking forward to hearing Alice's review of that because that opens this week. Mm-hmm. So yeah, real quick. So John's True West Awards, they started out, I think originally they were the Ovation Awards when he was at the Denver Post. And they're not like, best actor type awards. They're more like, we call them bouquets. So, they're for different things. He actually gave us an award last year for our theater coverage. So you don't even have to be an actor to win one of these sometimes. So it's, I have 2 things. One is, John, what the hell are you going to do with yourself in December of 2026? And my second comment would be like, I bet he does something. I don't know. I can't imagine he lets it go completely. So I don't believe John.
We'll have to ask him that question next time we see him.
Yeah, we'll try and get him on the podcast to reveal some of these things.
Mm-hmm. After Matt, he's 2 other awards at the time that we're recording this on the morning of December 3rd have been announced. The second True West Award this year is going to Dave and Jane Shirley of Rattlebrain Productions for its seasonal sketch comedy, Santa's Big Red Sack, which, like the True West Awards, is ending this year after roasting the holidays for 24 seasons. Over
Yeah.
35,000 people have turned out to see this since it started in 2002. And why it's the final year, quote, "I'm old and tired," Dave said. So your final chance to check out the show this year is December 4th through the 24th over at the People's Building in Aurora. Have you seen this one, Alex?
No, I've seen Rattlebrain. I've seen some of their other ones. I've never seen Santa's Very Red Sack. So I've heard it's a lot of fun.
Same. Yeah, I've seen some of their other stuff, but not this one. I guess if we want to see it, there's only one more chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final one that has been announced so far, it just dropped this morning. I was reading it right before we hopped on. It was John's honoring of several members of Family Theater Company. This is the disability theater troupe that is based out of Denver. And there have been 4 alumni who he spotlights who have just had a banger 2025, including Jenna Bainbridge, who made Broadway history in March when she joined the cast of Wicked as Nessa Rose. This was the first time that the role of Elphaba's wheelchair-using sister had actually been played by an authentic wheelchair-using actor on Broadway.
Okay.
Reagan Linton was another one of the honorees. She was chosen as one of the 6 filmmakers from around the nation to work with Warner Brothers Studios as part of its 100th year anniversary to write, develop, and direct a 20-minute film adaptation of one of the studio's iconic films. She chose Jack and the Beanstalk and then turned to fellow Family alums Jeremy Palmer to co-write the script and Kaylin Hefner, who is the MC for local hip-hop band Wheelchair Sports Camp, to score the film. So those are a couple other folks who John called out there. And then the final person he called out was Jason Dorworth, who is a published author whose 4 advanced degrees include a PhD in critical disability theater and a law degree from the University of Theater. He's currently the assistant professor of global theater studies at Hong Kong Baptist University. So it's quite an impressive network that they've got there.
Yeah, definitely sounds like a great group of people to call out for sure.
And if you're wondering why these True West Awards this year don't include the Unsung Hero category in addition to the actual award itself, John clarified on Facebook that he doesn't have the capacity to include a daily Unsung Hero for the True West Awards this year, but there will be a day dedicated to a whole host of them. He asks that you remember that any nominations you make be specific to unsung activities, specifically in the calendar year of 2025, and then asks if you do have somebody you want to nominate to send him an email at john.moore@denvergazette.com. Don't reach out to him on Facebook. Don't do it.
I would echo that. Please don't send me Facebook messages, or sometimes I don't see them for weeks or months. I'm like, it's not that hard to find us.
Exactly.
Every once in a while, I'll be like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. I did not see that from August.
Totally. And a final bit of news. As you probably already know from the millions of emails flooding your inbox earlier this week, Giving Tuesday just took place. It's kind of impossible to miss, particularly if you are a supporter in any way of arts, cultures, or any nonprofit activities, because it's a big day for nonprofits, which most theaters in the state are, to secure a bunch of substantial contributions. Did you do any giving, Alex?
No, bah humbug. Just kidding. I don't necessarily pay that much attention to these special days unless there's like a big match or something like that. I did give regularly to Colorado Public Radio because I really listen to it a lot. And OnStage Colorado also has given the Denver Actors Fund, speaking of John Moore, thousands of dollars in-kind donations through their advertisements that we run on the site, so people can get to there to send them donations. So I would count that some and some other things. But, I think people do get a little confused between Giving Tuesday and Colorado Gives Day, which I'm not even sure. It's not called out on the Colorado Gives Foundation website exactly what Colorado Gives Day is. Can you set us straight here on what's what here, Toni?
Yes. So it's a little bit confusing, but these activities are all organized by the Colorado Gives Foundation, whose mission is to make good happen by connecting people, ideas, and nonprofits. And in Jefferson County, that looks like partnerships with local nonprofits, including grant making. And statewide, it includes running coloradogives.org, which is a year-round giving platform to support nonprofits, which include arts groups, educational nonprofits, religious organizations, places dedicated to providing human services, and more. So it's not just arts and culture. It's any nonprofit activity falls under this umbrella. And so since 2010, Coloradans have raised over $500 million through the foundation, including $54.8 million in 2024 alone.
Wow.
Not an insubstantial chunk of change
Yeah.
there. And Giving Tuesday and Colorado Gives Day are 2 days in December that they kind of organize their giving around. Giving Tuesday is the first Tuesday of December every single year. It's kind of in conjunction with it comes coming after Small Business Saturday and kind of encouraging people to support those local organizations that actually make their community worth living in.
Mm-hmm.
And then Colorado Gives Day is on December 9th, and it's just another day to organize giving around. On these days, the organizations and other partners also have matching grants that you can unlock if you participate in these fundraising days. So it really doesn't make a lot of sense for organizations to sit out of these things because you are just leaving money on the table. And most places don't. In the arts, culture, and humanities section, you can look through organizations around the state just in that category. That's not including any of the other nonprofits that are taking part in this Colorado Gives Day campaign. And so, all that being said, what do you think of the foundation's effort?
Well, I mean, I think it's great to, anything you can do to more effectively shake the cup, as it were. I do wonder whether, this always comes at a time of year when a lot of people are kind of thinking about how to pay for, gas, their heat, their Christmas presents, things like that. And I wonder, are there better times? And of course, it doesn't stop, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if, they should have more like April when everybody's got their tax refund in hand or something like that. Also, I mean, a lot of people who actually have money and do deductions on their taxes, they think about giving away money at this time of year to get those tax deductions as well. So I think that's why we hear a lot of it in December.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's targeting the 1% among us who are looking to offload their accounts to get before the holiday season.
Get rid of this filthy lucre that's been building up.
Yeah. I think I'm like you a little bit. I'm not sure December is maybe the best time to run it, particularly all at once with all nonprofits simultaneously trying to fundraise, sending appeals. To me, it just kind of feels like a bunch of white noise all at once when I get 150 emails from the arts organizations that I support and I am interested in. I'm going to be honest, I just have to start deleting those after a certain point. I'm not going to read them. I'm not able to give to all of those organizations. And so it seems like, and this is backed up by data, the places that are going to benefit most from this are the bigger organizations who already have that built-in marketing campaign. They have those massive email lists that they can send out to. Because I'm on all of them, but there are people who are just on the Denver Center, Creed Rep's email list, Theater Aspen's email list. And when you look at the totals that they raised from after Colorado Gives Days, those are the organizations who are raising a significant chunk of change. DCPA has raised roughly $45,000. Creed Rep and Curious Theater have raised roughly $27,000, and Theater Aspen has raised about $25,000. And then you compare that to smaller orgs like the Bug Theater, Theater Company of Lafayette, and the Catamounts. They're just nowhere close to these amounts.
Yeah. Where did you get those numbers anyway, that they've raised that so far? Is that on the site?
That is all public data. It's all on the site. So people are welcome if you're curious about how your favorite organization is doing or how other groups that are not arts organizations are doing, like Black Lives Matter or the Boulder Food Rescue. All of that data is available, and you can check it out on the coloradogives.org.
All right. Well, also, if after all that you're still like, man, I've still got this money lying around, feel free to donate some of it to OnStage Colorado. We are not a nonprofit, but we are certainly have expenses, and we're trying to pay our writers to get out there and do all this amazing coverage, and also for the people that slave away on our calendar every day, and all other things. But you can always find a place to give on our website as well. So, OnStage Colorado is brought to you by the Aurora Fox Arts Center, presenting the Farnsdale Avenue Housing Estate Townswomen's Guild Dramatic Society's production of A Christmas Carol, November 28th through December 21st. The Fox will welcome some of the true grand dames of the Colorado theater community to the stage for this hilarious, nonstop journey into a holiday show gone utterly and madly wrong. Tickets at aurorafoxartscenter.org. And we're supported by the Colorado Springs Fine Arts Center at Colorado College, presenting Mary Poppins through December 20th. This classic tale of a struggling family brought back together by a special nanny and a spoonful of sugar will bring extra cheer to your holiday season. Tickets at fac.coloradocollege.edu. OnStage Colorado receives support from the Boulder Ensemble Theater Company, whose production of Every Brilliant Thing plays December 5th through 28th at the Dairy Arts Center in Boulder. This one-man show, starring Matt Zambrano, is a deeply funny and life-affirming play that lifts up the good in all of us. Tickets at betc.org. This episode is also sponsored by Colorado Candlelight, presenting $1 Million Quartet Christmas through January 11th. Set in a Christmas-decorated studio, this holiday edition of $1 Million Quartet features Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and Elvis Presley with holiday tunes and fun-filled stories of Christmas past, present, and future. Tickets at coloradocandlelight.com. Also supporting the podcast is Curious Theater Company, whose production of Job runs November 8th through December 7th. With razor-edge dialogue and an unsettling edge, Job is a taut, provocative thriller that asks urgent questions about mental health, corporate loyalty, and what we're willing to sacrifice to keep our place in the system. Tickets at curioustheater.org. We also received support from Miners Alley Performing Arts Center, presenting 2 holiday shows through December 28th. First, it's Stocking Stuffers, a brand new adults-only musical comedy packed with heart, a healthy dose of irreverence, and big laughs with a holiday twist. Plus, It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio play, a fully staged production that brings the beloved holiday classic to life. Tickets at minersalley.com. Moving on, well, let's talk about non-holiday shows, Toni. What do we want to look at here that people can get to that doesn't involve Christmas trees, wreaths, Scrooges, Grinches, any of that stuff?
I think you're going to notice kind of a reoccurring theme is that even if the shows that we're going to talk about that are playing during this time are not holiday themed, these are definitely more cheerful and warm than shows that are maybe going to be programmed in March or April, where theaters might be taking a bit more of an experimental risk. This, like we talked about on last week's episode, November, December, this is the time when arts organizations make a lot of their money and actually become hopefully profitable and make a little money that they can put back into next year. And so we're seeing a lot of family friendly shows such as Goodnight Moon over at the DCPA. This is a children's show. It's been running for a little while now, but it's notably up all the way through the holiday season.
Yeah, and it's not Christmas themed, but I think it takes place in the wintertime. There's a fire going and the bunnies are staying warm by the fire. Yeah. But yeah, you definitely don't necessarily want to do no exit, at this time of year if you want to try and get the, the kids to show up and, 4 tickets, mom and dad and the 2 kids is definitely better than just mom and or dad. So another good example of that is Mary Poppins, not a Christmas show at all. But you saw this at the Fine Arts Center in Colorado Springs and said it was just fantastic. Of course, friend of the pod, Kelly Van Osbury directs, and great cast, right?
I said in my review, like Mary Poppins herself, the show is practically perfect in every way. It really is just that good. I have high standards when it comes to Mary Poppins. I grew up on this show. I've read the books. I love the movie Saving Mr. Banks that dramatizes the making of the movie. I love the musical was the first musical I ever saw staged. And this really does do a splendid job of lavishly producing this musical that you probably do have at least some awareness of.
Of course, yeah. Another one, definitely not a Christmas show. The Importance of Being Earnest is over there across the street at the Ent Center in Colorado Springs. And our reviewer Judith Sears saw this and said it was a really, really great production of it. And it's such a great play, such a great comedy by Oscar Wilde that I haven't seen in a while. I'm thinking about actually trying to go down to check that one out again. It sounds great.
Yeah, after reading the review of that's on OnStage Colorado, I kind of wanted to do the same thing too. I'm too busy. I won't actually be able to make it, but I thought about it for a second.
Yep.
I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. No,
should
you've
I
got a
try
lot
to
on your
like
dance card.
I was like, should I try to like do like another 2-show day and like finagle it? And I was like, no, it's
It's a
not going
lot.
to happen.
It's a lot. Another
Un-
good one that I saw that I reviewed was Dracula, A Comedy of Terrors. This one is at the Denver Center Garner Galleria all the way through Mesa. Tons of time to see this one. This is just a really fun show to go see. It has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas and everything to do with a very horny Dracula running around flexing his muscles.
Yeah, that one sounds like a laugh riot. A good use of that cabaret space too.
Absolutely. Yep.
Next one up, this is in Boulder at the Dairy Art Center, being produced by Upstart Crow. It's Aaron Sorkin's play, A Few Good Men. This is perhaps the most serious of any of the ones that we're going to talk about, because this is about military lawyers who are defending Marines who are accused of murder at Guantanamo Bay. So maybe do leave the kids at home for this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is a very well-known title because of the film, but it's not often done on stage. This is, of course, Aaron Sorkin's like breakout play. As I don't know if he wrote it when he was still in college or what, but it's an interesting play just because, and I was in it a long time ago. That's why I know a little bit more about it, since I played whoever the lawyer was that sat next to whoever the Tom Cruise lawyer's name was. It was his name Jaffe or something like that. I was Weinstein, I think was the name. I was the lawyer who was not the Tom Cruise lawyer. But yeah, it's an interesting play because it's a very cinematic in that it's just very short scene after very short scene, and it also requires a very large cast, so you can see why a lot of theaters would maybe shy away from doing it, because it is tricky to do, and you also need to come up with a bunch of military uniforms, which costs no small amount of money to do well. So I'd be interested to hear, because I know you're going to go out and see this. I'm interested to see your review of this production.
Yeah, I haven't seen a production by Upstart Crow in a little while. They're community theater based out of Boulder, so I'll be curious to see how they handle this play. Another one going on in the Boulder area is, we talked about it at the top of the show when we were talking about True West Awards. It's Every Brilliant Thing, being staged by Betsy. This is a one-person show starring Matt Zambrano, and it may not sound upwarming because it's a play about suicide, but having seen it, it actually is incredibly life-affirming, ultimately, even if the topics it discusses are a little bit intense.
Yeah, very, very, very uplifting. Over at Littleton Town Hall, they're doing Annie, the musical. So is there no Christmas scenes at all in Annie? I don't know. Maybe there is. There might be, but it's certainly not like a Christmas themed show.
You're right. I put this one on the list. I actually think that there is some Christmassy stuff in Annie. This one maybe doesn't count.
Okay.
Sorry,
well,
guys.
We'll leave it in there anyway. I'm sure it's a fine production. And then one off at Buntport on December 13th, they're doing the Stolen Game Show, which of course is another wacky thing from Buntport, which I'm sure will be a lot of fun. I don't know anything else about it. Do you know what's up with that one at all, Tony?
No,
Okay.
I know that Buntport does a ton of these like one-off things that are just kind of goofy and irreverent. Over at Vintage Theater in Aurora, they've got a musical comedy, The Mystery of Edwin Drood. This is a musical adaptation of Charles Dickens' final unfinished novel that invites the audience to choose the identity of the murderer in this whodunit, as well as the identity of the detective who is secretly following them, and you get to pair up lovers. It's a really raucous night of theater. It's all set in a kind of Victorian theater company who is presenting the show as a show within a show inside this musical hall royale. So it's very meta theatrical. I was in this show in college. I played the drunken gravekeeper Durdles, and so I have very, very fond memories of this show. You're checking this one out, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be there on Saturday. I'm looking forward to this. This is the title, one of those titles that I've just always known about, always kind of wanted to see, because I'm a Charles Dickens fan, and would love to see this one. So looking forward to that. And then what else? Up north at Bablu Theater in Fort Collins, they're doing Dinner with Friends. So this is something about married couples and divorces, and things like that. I think it's kind of a drama, but it's got a few laughs around it. And we have a new reviewer, Megan Neary, is reviewing this for us. She's a writer up there who reached out to us. So welcome aboard, Megan. We'll have her review up on the site fairly soon.
That's awesome. Over in Pueblo by the Impossible Players, they're doing a melodrama, Blame It on the Pony Express. And although there's not a ton of information that's available about this, the poster and the description don't look or sound Christmassy at all. So
Nope.
I think this is a good bet.
Yeah. It was Blame It on the Pony Express, and then like some subtitle like melodramas always have that was like 10 words long or something like that. So yeah, down there. It's been, if you haven't seen a melodrama in a while, you know where to go. Pueblo. On a much more serious side, An Echoing Spring, a story of Matthew Shepard. So this was written by Colorado playwright Mike Brummel, and this is just another take on the terrible tragedy of Matthew Shepard. And this features Aidan Evans as Matthew Shepard, and also Susan Neppy plays, I think, as Mother Judy Shepard. So that one is going to be, and I think that is going to be, I'm not sure.
That's at Firehouse Theater, actually.
Okay,
at the
right.
John Hand Theater in
At the
Denver.
John Hand, yeah, and it's like a midweek. I think they're doing like midweek shows.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one more on the list that you can just catch, right?
Yeah, this is the last weekend to catch Job over at Curious Theater. And if you have not seen it already, I would recommend that you make some time to check it out. It is not a happy play. It is definitely not going to put you in the Christmas spirit, but it is well worth checking out. It's a two-hander. It's got really impressive performances. I thought Josh Hartwell did a really superb job, just like constantly ratcheting up the tension until you get to this final confrontation that is just larger than life where it leaves you. It's jaw-dropping. I was very impacted. I thought this show was very, very well done. All right, well, we are going to take a quick break, and when we return, we will hear Alex's interview with Em and Joe from Unleashed Theater.
All right, well, we are here with the Unleashed Theater crew. So we've got Perez and Joe Lee here. Thanks so much for being on the OnStage Colorado podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you have a show coming up called The Christmas Movie, The Play, The Beginning. So it's a great idea. I think it's spoofing Hallmark Christmas movies, which my wife watches ad nauseum. So I'm familiar with them sort of in a tangential way. I think I watched one or two of them there, but so I have an idea of what they are, but yeah. So before we get into the specifics of this particular show, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about Unleashed Theater. You guys are kind of on the newer side. You've been doing a few things in this past year. So what brought you two together, and what why does this theater company exist in terms of like, what's different about it from what other companies might be?
Yeah, so we met in college doing theater, and we really bonded over our shared philosophy around art and theater and storytelling. And so when we left college, which feels like many, many years ago now, we actually opened a comedy production company. And we ran that for many years, where we produced stand-up shows and sketch and improv and variety shows were our absolute favorite. And we toured that through bars and coffee shops and tattoo shops and and any miscellaneous venue you could think of. And we did that for a long time and really loved it. But we were missing our roots in the theater as a whole. Mm-hmm. We wanted to be able to branch out to more than the comedy that we were doing. And so we kind of retooled into Unleashed. So in a lot of ways, we're brand new. In a lot of ways, we feel like we're doing just what we've always been doing, but a little bit more, a little bit extra. So now we are doing the same thing, but plays. But we're basically still... I think we still have really strong roots in that comedy background, particularly like with this show, we're touring it through bars. And that is a venue space and audiences that we're really comfortable with and really excited to bring theater to.
Uh-huh. That's great. Yeah. And then, so you're, it's a woman-run company, obviously. The new, the bold, and the weird is kind of like your tagline. What does that look like in practice? And also, you guys pretty much do all original stuff. You both write.
Yeah, we like to write new shows. We love showcasing new shows as well from other writers. I think sort of the part of the vision for us was that We would put up shows that Em would direct and I would write. That's not all the shows because writing takes time, but really loves directing and I really love writing. I also think that part of what we like to do comes from this history with sketch comedy. I was thinking about this recently, is like we come up with a bit, basically. We really go all in on writing a full script on it. That's what this Christmas show is and her partner, Zach, they love Hallmark Christmas movies and they love weird, bad 80s slasher movies. And they decided to combine them and write them because they've seen 18,000 of them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I should say the tagline on this show is content warning, blood, guts, gratuitous violence, dismemberment, death, and themes related to the occult.
Yes.
So definitely not something you normally see with the Hallmark films. So I'm very curious to hear about what can you just give me the outline of the plot there, Em?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like any classic Hallmark Lifetime movie, Delphina is a big city executive of a toy company. And when her great aunt passes away suddenly, she has to go to her hometown for the holidays. And her great aunt has left her a big old house, and she's trying to figure out how to raise the money to save this old house. And she has a whole little posse of townies, and a charming love interest is the pawn shop owner in town. And in her old house, she has this big old chest that she's trying to figure out how to get open to reveal her great aunt's last secret. And when they open the chest, carnage ensues, and Delphina needs to rally the town, stop the blood and carnage, and save the day.
Okay. And do we have our stereotype? So normally when the female protagonist goes back to the hometown, there's a hunky guy, a local guy who she meets. Is that character there?
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the pawn shop owner.
Okay.
Yeah, we have our classic cast. So we've got the hunky guy at the hometown that she has a love interest with. We've got the mayor, who has his nose sort of in everybody's business and knows a little bit too much about what's going on. We have the hometown best friend. We have the hometown bully / jock who nobody likes. And we have a mysterious character who seems to appear and disappear and may or may not be Santa, but is watching to ensure the miracle of Christmas happens.
Okay. And then I see there's a holiday fundraiser potluck. So that, those movies always have some sort of tentpole event that organized. So I love this tagline. It says, the same movie you watch every year, but with the ending you've always wanted. So what's wrong with the typical Hallmark ending that you think people are craving?
Well, everyone's still alive at the end, and we felt like that's not what people wanted of their Hallmark movies. So ours takes a different route.
People are demanding death.
What the people really want.
Of course. So you're also directing this one. So what's been the most part? And you must be in rehearsals by now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what's been the most fun of part of bringing this story to life, and how you balancing the horror elements with the cozy Christmas vibes?
Yeah, it's been super fun. We have a really amazing cast. They're really funny. So that's been the most fun about is putting it on its feet and getting it on the stage, is the cast bringing their own humor to it. And we don't get through 5 minutes without everybody off stage laughing at everyone on stage. So it's really, even though we've run it 100 times right now, it's still cracking us all up.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. And there's still a lot of discovery happening where we're really pushing the envelope of, okay, how can we make that funnier? How can we make it funnier? How can we make it funnier? And, kind of the crossover between Christmas to horror feels oddly more organic than I think you would anticipate, in that it's all built into that formula, right? Of the formula of the Christmas movies, the formula of an 80s slasher. So it's pretty easy for one to pick up where the other one left off, because the tropes and the formulas are very similar.
Interesting. So Joe, are you in it?
I'm not in it. I am co-producing this one. I'm doing the costumes and the props, and I sit in for fight choreo sometimes. Basically what it means is I sit in a chair and somebody sort of flops on me, and that's pretty fun for me. So
So it sounds like even though it's more comic than it is horror, but there's some silly, maybe some silly gore or something like that.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
very
definitely
silly.
horror comedy. Like we would say like Little Shop of Horrors, or where there's it's definitely gory, it's definitely bloody, but in a funny way.
So another thing you said on your website was that you describe your shows as grab your friends, grab a beer experiences. So talk a little bit about more of the vibe that you're looking to do at Unleashed Productions. And I said, you said you want to get it to some shows in front of people that maybe don't normally go to theater.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of what we're trying to do is get shows, like you said, in front of people who don't necessarily feel comfortable going to theater. They might not, feel like they understand, or, we want people, more everyday people, to feel like they are comfortable coming to our shows. We want the vibe to be, sort of wear whatever you want. You don't have to dress up for our shows. You don't have to put on any airs. Our shows are really open to everyone. Part of how we do that is we bring it to these unconventional theater spaces like bars and breweries. Especially for this show, we're doing all bars and breweries for this show. I think we're sort of bringing the shows to the people on this one.
Right.
And in general, we'd like to do that.
So do you feel, have you talked to people where, sometimes when you've been in theater or going to theater for a long time, you forget that it's intimidating to some people. Is that what you hear from people? They're like, oh gosh, I don't know, what do I wear? It's going to be this or that. What do people think they're going to experience?
Yeah, both Joe and I come from families of non-theater people. We're the sole theater person in a non-theatrical family. So we get those reactions quite a bit. So, oh, sorry, did I lose you guys?
No, you're good.
You're good.
Okay, cool. It froze for a half second and I panicked. Yeah, we both come from non-theater families. So we get this reaction quite a bit. And I think it's rooted just more in people are nervous to try an experience when they can't picture what that experience is going to look like. And so when it comes to theater, I think a lot of people who are not in the theatrical world picture Shakespeare, right, is their number one go-to, or some sort of intense drama. And they're like not sure if that's something they're going to relate to or something they're going to enjoy. Or what we get a lot is, because we did comedy for so long, people they don't want to be called out. Right? They don't want to, like at improv shows, they don't want to have someone point at them and then they're like nervous to think of a thing that's funny.
Dragged on stage or something.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think in the general media, if you're not in the theater industry, what you understand about theater is such a small snippet of what it actually is. And just that misunderstanding is a real barrier for people. And I think one of the things we're trying to communicate to people is like theater is just like any other storytelling medium, right? Like movies or TV shows where there's something for everyone, right? Like, yes, there's Shakespeare, there's amazing classics. Yes, there's really intense dramas, but there's also like Will Ferrell buddy comedies, right? And that's what we do.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I was looking at the, you're going to be in Western Sky and Bar and Tap Room December 6th. That's in Inglewood. Junkyard Social in Boulder December 7th. Ratio's Overland location December 12th through 14th. And then Ratio's Rhino location December 19th through 21st. And I was saying to Joe when we were dealing with you were off, when we were dealing with some of the tech issues earlier, is that it reminded me a little bit of how Audacious Immersive does their shows. So you guys might actually pass them in coming and going at some of these places, like
absolutely.
Ratio. Yeah. Were you inspired by what they're doing? Have you ever seen any of their shows? Or
yeah, I've seen a couple of what they do. Yeah, I think what we do is similar, and they do a really great job of that. The Wit and their Shakespeare program does a really great job of that, where they do drunken Shakespeare in bars. So yeah, I definitely don't think we're the first to do it. I think one of the things that we're trying to bring is just to continue opening that door, right? And a rising tide raises all ships. And so I think we're just continuing that message that Audacious and Shakespeare has put out there of just, like theater to the people, right? It's fun, it's loose, you're going to enjoy it, all of those great things.
Yeah. Yeah, Toni, my podcast host, we talk a lot about, especially recently, about some of the ways that theaters can bring more people in. And so, tap rooms are certainly kind of hurting a little bit. There's a trend, away from drinking, and so they're challenged, but also the idea of creating a third place where people can not just sit and see a play, but they can sit there and have a beer and be more relaxed, and sounds like you're trying to tap into that vibe.
Yeah, I think third place is exactly the type of vibe we're going for. Like, we talk about making theater more every day. And I think that going to these places where people are regulars, people are used to their bar, they're used to their place. And then suddenly, we actually had a really great experience. We did a reading at Western Sky. We've been doing some readings there, and we had someone come up to us and they were like, I'm not a theater person. I don't know anything about theater, but I really enjoyed this. And it was just a reading. It wasn't even a full production. And they really let us know that they enjoyed it. And that is like exactly what we're going for. And yeah, I think that third place, that like place where you are a regular and then being able to like see something new. I love that like intersection. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And it really is. It's so true. They're just getting someone in if they haven't been to something, if they just like, oh, okay, I get it. It's just like a TV show, but with live people in front of you, or whatever, however they choose to describe it. But it's not like this mysterious weird thing, like, I don't know, maybe ballet might be to a lot of people, or opera, in another language or something like that. So, well, what's coming up in 2026 for Unleashed Theater? What's on tap?
Yeah, I mean, a lot that's kind of being TBD right now is we're testing out different funding sources and figuring that out. But actually, the Christmas show, our plan is to make that a yearly occurrence and have a different script each year. So we would love for it to be sort of a tradition for folks, a la going to see the Christmas Carol every year. Ours is like that, but bloodier. And so that is certainly on the docket for next year, as well as we're working on getting a sketch team together to do a sketch show. And our program, Pints and Plays, we do readings of new plays in bars. And so we partner with Western Sky on that, and we solicit for new play submissions, and then we pick a few and get some professional actors in, and we do the reading in the bar, and it's free for people to attend. And so we want to keep growing that program. And yeah, we're just kind of working through those things. We're applying for Denver Fringe, so fingers crossed that we get our lottery spot on that.
Great. All right. Well, so Christmas movie, The Play, The Beginning, a new play by Zach and M. Perez, and directed by M, and produced by Joe, and who's doing all kinds of other things as well. So they'll be in different bars, and we just mentioned December 6th through 21st, and you can find info at unleashedtheater.com. That's a theater with an R-E. So break legs, all of you out there that are in the cast, and you putting it all together. And thanks so much for coming on the OnStage Colorado podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that just sounds like a whole hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's if you've ever suffered through or enjoyed a Hallmark movie, it's always fun to see what people's kind of do different takes on that, because they've become like this just juggernaut of a part of American culture that you just can't escape. But even in July, I think they show them like year round, but especially I think they have a bunch of them in July that they show. I happen to have a family member who really enjoys these movies, so I'm fairly familiar with them.
Yeah, I was about to say this knowledge sounds deep and intimate, Alex.
Yeah, and I've watched a couple just as a spousal duty, and and some of them are actually pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, that brings us to the end of our show for this week. We will be back in your feed next week with another exciting podcast episode.
Yeah, believe it or not, there's just, I think, 2 episodes left in 2025 before we knock off for the rest of December and start work on compiling our Oscars, our OnStage Colorado Awards. Speaking of which, Toni, I noticed that the Broadway World Awards were starting to be touted on social media. This is one that we like to scoff at a little bit because we don't even know what they are. I guess you can go in and vote over and over and over again, and
we know what they are. It's a cheap popularity contest. I mean, it's fine if you can be proud of your Broadway award, but anybody can nominate anybody for anything. There's no rules or criteria. The categories are incredibly random, and then you can vote multiple times. So if you're looking for like a honest assessment, Broadway World is maybe not the place to go.
Yeah, it's kind of like the grown-up theater equivalent of like the soccer trophy that all the kids get at the end of the season.
It's not a bad way to put it, because when you see the nominees, it's just like, wow, everyone's a winner.
Yep. So coming up on the OnStage Colorado website, we've got a couple of new reviews up there. Judith's review of Importance of Being Earnest. I just posted my review of Let Nothing You Dismay. And we have a ton of reviews coming soon because we are all going to be out in force, especially the ubiquitous Toni Tresca. So you're going to have a review of Stocking Stuffers at Miners Alley in Golden. I am going to do their production of It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio show this week as well. So we'll have both of theirs covered. We have a dueling Jacob Marley's Christmas Carol. You're going to do the one at Elemental Theater, formerly known as the Wheat Ridge Theater in the metro area. And then Kim Nicoletti up in Summit County is going to check out the one at the Breckenridge Backstage Theater. Granny dances to a holiday drum from Cleo Parker Robinson Dance. Are you doing that one?
I am doing that one. I got it confirmed this week. This is their 34th season doing this dance production, and it will be their final production of it in its current space. They've done a big capital campaign, right, and they're set to open their new building, Martin Luther King Jr. weekend 2026. Figured I got to check it out one last time in the final space.
Great. And then the aforementioned A Few Good Men at Upstart Crow and the Christmas movie The Play The Beginning as well. And then we'll also have my review of The Mystery of Edwin Drood coming up. Alice Caitlin is getting to the Colorado Ballet's annual production of The Nutcracker. She is our nutcracking ballet reviewer, so we'll see what she has to say about that one. And then Betsy's staging of Every Brilliant Thing. She's going to do that one. And then also up in Summit County, Kim Nicoletti is going to get to Theater Silco's production of Murder for Two, the holiday edition as well. So tons of stuff coming on before we go sort of dormant for the second half of December.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has to be the most OnStage Colorado has covered the holiday season.
I think it is, yeah, because we don't always get out to all of them just because, we don't necessarily need to review every Christmas Carol and things like that. But there's definitely some different things going on, some familiar titles, but a couple of other interesting things. So, I was just looking at I think we had close to 20 reviews that we'll be doing in December. It looks like December is not, or 2025 is not going to be, I don't think we're going to hit the 200 reviews that we did last year, but we'll be closing in on that. So once again, OnStage Colorado definitely doing more theater reviews than any other media outlet in Colorado, unless there's something I don't know about. Yeah, we've been busy this year.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to stay up to date on all that we've been doing, as well as what's going on in theaters across the state, be sure that you are subscribed to the OnStage Colorado Theater Blast, which is our weekly newsletter. It comes out every Thursday. It features a roundup of all of the reviews, the news that we publish to the site, and then Alex does a really nice listing from the calendar that just kind of lists everything that's going to be happening on stage this weekend so that you can kind of use that to plan out your schedule.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Alex Miller.
And I'm Toni Tresca, and we'll see you at the show.